I think the super app, the key component of the super app really is being a platform on which other experiences can sit on top of. And actually, Kevin, the first Kevin, your competitor McKinsey had defined a super app as an application that provides, customers, partners, or employees with features sitting on top called mini apps, right? Which is basically exactly what Weixin or WeChat has. The way to become a platform in general, I think this is well understood in Chinese internet, is that you have to be a frequent use case. And to be a frequent use case, in Chinese, you refer to like the four common behaviors that are uh, common to everyday living, which is 衣食住行, right? So, clothing, but really that's standing for acquiring goods that are necessary to your everyday survival. So shopping, 食, which is food. So you see food delivery apps, for example, because they're highly frequently used, becoming platforms of sorts in China and also Southeast Asia. Um, Zhu is actually not it means to live, but it's not actually the process of renting or acquiring, hotels or anything like that, because that's very infrequent. It's actually talking about, your everyday sort of in-home needs. So I think this, ties in nicely with what I think it's Kevin that was saying earlier about the idea that there maybe could be a home smart app that could become a super app. Unfortunately, I think that's not happened yet because the level of smart home is actually just not that high yet. But if you strictly think about it, your Alexa device has now allows you to have other app experiences inside of it. So maybe you could think of it as a limited super app. And then finally, Xing, which is transportation. I think, again, we've seen some of the, especially in Southeast Asia, I guess, where more of the transportation apps have taken advantage of the fact that the high frequency with which users are using it allows them to layer on other abilities. The one thing that I do think is unique, right, because again, Yishu Zhuxing is like an ancient Chinese wisdom, is entertainment, the new role that entertainment plays in this. And I was just going to say, I think Kevin Shimoda said it, that gaming, the metaverse, right, is you could, strictly speaking, Roblox is a sort of super app. It is a platform in which it provides the tools for creators to create entirely different experiences that can be consumed, separately, paid for separately, and actually can differ wildly from each other and have a great diversity. So we are already seeing that in, of course, entertainment. And you also see entertainment apps, such as social apps. TikTok, not so much yet, but its Chinese equivalent, Douyin, has experimented, I don't think as successfully, again, as the mother of all super apps, Weixin, but it has experimented and started to delve into the realm of super apps. So by having mini app abilities on top of it. So I guess I don't have any new ideas, but I try to summarize a little bit of what everyone else has said. So maybe that's a helpful moniker for people to remember where there could be new opportunities emerging. The super app model is very compelling. I think overall, just in general, platform businesses are very compelling, right? Being a first party being a first party vendor, for example, in e-commerce, only gets you so far. It's only when you become a marketplace model like Amazon has, that you can really grow the piece of the pie that you are leveraging. I think that for super apps, they obviously take this a whole level further by not just expanding and becoming a marketplace for vendors selling the same thing, but for all sorts of providers. And especially if you are a business, for example, as I've seen in China, Meituan, the food delivery business, this is a high frequency but low margin business. It becomes much more interesting when you become a quote unquote super app. I know some people may not think of Meituan as a super app, but some people do, because they have so many other functionalities within the app where you can then layer in lower frequency but higher margin businesses. Now, someone like Meituan did choose to go about those businesses and own that entire supply chain. But you could also have done what WeChat has done and entirely open up the ecosystem and allow much more flexibility for other providers to come in and build their own experiences. Or you can choose to be like Meituan and become much more standardized and be more of a, strictly speaking, more platform-like. But overall, this is just good for many businesses. It's just very operationally intensive to execute. And I think that is one of the reasons that's keeping many of the Western companies from going down this route. But what I really think is the future trend of the super app model, taking a step back, is that I just think a lot of consumers, once they experience mini apps, are going to want that mini app experience. We've already seen, in general, like the number, the retention statistics of new apps, of users on new apps really go down, because people don't really want to download a new app just to do a very specific function. And yet the app interface is so compelling because, now that we're living in a mobile first society for the most part, the app is just a much better interface than the mobile web. But the mini app is taking that further and making that an even better experience. And again, for most apps, you really don't use it that often, and it is almost like a burden to keep it on your phone. So I think with the evolution of new interfaces, like generative AI really helps on the user interface front, how you interact with information. That need is going to become even more clear, right? People are not going to want to download the UPS app and track their packages. It's going to be much more interesting to just query your mailbox or your SMS, your text inbox or whatever, and ask where your nearest package is, which is very similar to the experience you would be able to get in WeChat now.